now, coming to you live from Huntsville Attic Studio, it's Pop Culture Philosophers. And here are your hosts, Rockin, Robbie, Billups, and John Hammertime Holshoe.
This is John Hammertime Holshoe. With me always, Rockin' Robbie Billups.
Yes, Rockin' Robbie Billups. Yes, I'm here. What's up?
And we're excited for tonight's episode.
Oh,
Animation.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be... Oh, animation.
Animation.
Yes, I am Rockin' Robbie Billups with John Hammertime Holshoe here in the Huntsville Attic.
Huntsville Attic, always in the Huntsville Attic.
Huntsville Attic. And we are doing Pop Culture Philosophers animation.
Animation.
That's like anything animated.
Really anything.
Like, not live action. So glad to have you, PCPers, out there with us tonight. Tonight, in the Huntsville Attic, we have with us some delightful guests, some experts of the cataclysm of cartoon coolness. I guess is the best I could come up with. Jelani Bullard, everybody. That's right, yes.
Hello. Hi.
Thanks for being here.
I'm glad to be here.
On Pop Culture Philosophers.
Yeah.
Second appearance. That's right. Also with us, we have cartoon expert, self-proclaimed, Anthony / the Hitman Tony Horton. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Well, thanks for being here. Animation. I'm super excited to get into this. Aren't you, John?
You're very animated tonight, Robbie.
I know. I wish the people could see us. They will later.
It's ridiculous.
So let's get into the show. Quit dicking around.
Quit dicking around.
I guess the first question would be, why does animation appeal to you? Let's go start. Well, we're going to go ahead and start with Jelani.
Oh, wow.
Why animation, Jelani? What's the appeal?
I mean, I watched it when I was a kid. I mean, it's Saturday morning cartoons, and you're raised with it. I was a kid of the 80s, so I enjoyed cartoons on Saturday. You know.
Yeah, that used to be a Saturday staple.
It used to be a staple. Like, on Saturdays, you watch it. Now it's just terrible learning cartoons, and they're just, they're
learning
terrible.
Cartoons? What the hell?
It hurts. So, ever since then, I mean, why does it appeal to me now? As an adult, I'm a 35-year-old male, and I love this. It changes your life. It makes you feel good about yourself. It takes you to it's an escape from reality. I love it. I mean, it just makes me feel good as a person. So, I totally enjoy that.
Tony, why do cartoons appeal to you, or animation?
It's one of the things that I can relate to as a kid from my childhood, to be able to still see these iconic figures still hold weight, still have meaning for a whole other generation to be reintroduced to them. A lot of the heroes that we come to know and grew up with have since then somewhat faded and died off. The one last saving grace for them is cartoons and animation. You still get to see the Batmans, you still get to see the Captain Americas, and you still get to see the Spider-Mans, which they're already negotiating with right now with the next big major movie that they're going to do for Spider-Man. The next one is going to be an animated movie, and I'm stoked for it. Growing up in the 80s was like the best time to me as a kid, because you had everything from Transformers to G.I. Joe to Thundercats to Jason the Wheel Warriors, to get off the mainstream. And you had Spiral Zone, Macron 1. All those guys were coming up in the leagues, and Voltron, the Defender of the Universe. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And even now, they're still holding weight.
Good answer. A little more serious than I expected.
Yeah.
We are the Pop Culture Philosophers.
He expounded.
Robbie, why does animation appeal to you?
I think animation in particular appeals to children. And we are all introduced to cartoons and animation when we are children, right? And it appeals to us. And I think the reason why it, is so important to us is because there is no limit in imagination. The only limit in cartoons and animation is the imagination, right? Like, when you make movies, especially when we were growing up, you couldn't do certain things in movies, but you could always even since the 30s and 40s, do that in animation.
Yeah, you didn't have CG.
Yeah, there's no CG. You can't make it look real, but you can make it look like it fits with Superman or Bugs Bunny or Woody Woodpecker. You can make anything happen, any kind of an explosion, any kind of just crazy ass idea.
I'm going to say the same thing, especially the limitation of what you could do in live action. And obviously CG has changed that a lot. Because you see some crazy stuff in just regular shows on TV that was previously reserved for films. And some of the CG is bad, but some has gotten a lot better in the TV shows. But the animation, there was no bounds. And then on top of that, I grew up like you guys did that Saturday morning. And it was geared towards us, obviously, action figures and the tie-ins and everything. But that Saturday morning, I'd get up. I mean, now, if I have a Saturday off, I sleep in, I'll be honest with you. But as a kid, Saturday morning, I was up at the crack of dawn. I had my cereal. It was usually something fruity, and I would eat too much of it, and I'd watch just a shitload of whatever was on, whatever they were feeding us, and that's, that was a traditional thing Saturday morning, and it kind of makes me sad. I mean, now kids have Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network.
Cartoons are everywhere all the time.
But I do miss that Saturday morning a lot.
When I was a kid, my birthday was June the 1st, and June bugs.
Yep.
It would start January the 1st, or June the 1st. Sorry, I'm saying January. But on June the 1st, they play June bugs. And it's 24 hours of Bugs Bunny. And I love that. It was on my birthday, and they did that for years.
That gets me to our next topic. Let's talk about classic cartoons. All right, I think that the two dominators of cartoons today, of animation, are Warner Brothers and Disney. And I think it starts very early. With, for instance, let's talk about the lesser of the two evils, if you will. I don't know. Looney Tunes. Warner Brothers. You know, they brought out Merry Melodies and the Looney Tunes. Don't you like the Looney Tunes? Tony, what can you tell me about your memories of the Looney Tunes?
Being introduced to those guys were like some of the greatest times of my life. Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, Sylvester.
Great characters.
All the way around. Elmer Fudd. Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, all that shit's good.
Tweety. I mean, you can't go wrong with that stuff, man. I mean, it was mindless, senseless humor, and we got it. And we didn't try to go out in the damn woods and try to look too deep into it and imitate this stuff. Now, like all these cartoons with kids now.
Oh yeah,
please don't try this at home.
Those are dangerous cartoons. To me, it's like some of my favorite shit. Daffy Duck is my favorite Looney Tunes character. Who's yours, Tony?
I'm gonna have to say Bugs.
Bugs Bunny. Yeah.
Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny was smooth. He would come in any situation that was going haywire. He would come in all smooth, take control of the situation, flip it, own it, and slide out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Cheesing.
Oh yeah,
and eating that carrot at the same time.
Owned it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Holshoe, what's your favorite Looney Tunes character, and what do you think about Looney Tunes in general?
I love Looney Tunes, man. I'm not as big a Disney fan as other people are, so I was always a big fan of Looney Tunes and love Daffy Duck, like you said. I'd probably go with Marvin the Martian, though.
He's a great character.
Yeah.
He really is.
Space modulator. Yeah.
Speaking of a great character with a funny voice, Jelani, what do you think about Looney Tunes? And who's your favorite Looney Tunes character?
My favorite Looney Tunes character is Bugs Bunny. I agree.
Okay.
He is. I mean, he's smooth. And then kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit.
You know, Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies was really cool because
beautifully.
And look at the names. This dude was taking classical music and making it like commonplace to children.
Art.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the best of, I don't know, it is culture. At the same time, you're learning something while you're getting a short story.
Absolutely. Warner Brothers dominated from the beginning with Looney Tunes, and then Disney. Steamboat Willie started it all. You got Mickey Mouse, you got Donald Duck, you got Goofy, you got Mickey, you got Daisy, you got Pluto, you got all these fantastic characters from Disney, and they have a legacy, of course, in an animated film. But what are some of your favorite Disney films? Real quick, Jelani.
My favorite Disney film of all time is Lion King.
Ooh, Lion King's a good one.
It's the music. it's the first time I was ever like engaged in a Disney film. It has the untitled. It hurt worse than Bambi's mom dying.
Oh yeah,
in Bambi.
you know,
to
that's
watch
another,
Mufasa
yeah,
die.
that's another. You know, speaking of
it's just insane.
speaking of music and Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies, Disney utilized music.
They did,
and the
very much
education
so.
of music in like Fantasia, for
Yeah.
instance, and a lot of their stuff.
Beautiful
You know, I love
yeah.
Fantasia. Is fantastic. I really like Robin Hood.
Robin Hood, Little John.
Yeah, that's some really that's some really good stuff. I love that one a lot. I'll get to more Disney later on, but of course I love all the little
It's animation,
all
man.
the little silly
We're talking
stuff
about
with
something we love.
Mickey.
This is beautiful.
And Donald. I love all those
Yeah.
silly things. I today still buy the comic books. Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Uncle Scrooge. I
Disney's
buy those.
ingrained in all of us.
Yeah.
I worked for Disney. It's
Yeah.
weird. Yeah.
Speaking of weird, John, Disney. You're not a big Disney fan, but
I'm not a
what do you
big
got?
Disney. I'm not anti-Disney by any means, but some of my favorite animated films were not Disney, except for I love the damn Rescuers movies.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the
Rescuers.
Rescuers.
Yeah.
The Rescuers
I like
Down
the
Under.
Rescuers.
Yeah,
that
the
was
two
the
Rescuers
craziest.
films.
That was
Loved
some
them
of the
both.
craziest stuff right
Yeah,
there.
man. The mice detectiving.
Those 70s Disney films are some of my favorite. You got Jungle Book there. You got The Rescuers. You got some really good movies in the 70s
Yeah.
from Disney. Speaking of really good in the 70s, Tony was pretty good in the 70s, just being born.
Yeah.
What do you think about Disney? What are some of your
All
favorite
right.
Disney stuff?
Some of my favorite Disney stuff. Pete's Dragon.
Yeah. That's good.
With the Rescuers being named, that was pretty cool too. But the one movie to me that will always relate to me, no matter what, I don't care when it's on, what part it's on, I jump into it and I start watching it. Was Tarzan. I love that. Phil Collins
Oh,
with
the
the
one
soundtrack.
Phil Collins
Hell
doing the
yeah.
music.
Phil
Yeah.
Collins, man.
We
Yeah.
worked at the movie theater when that came out. The
Yeah.
three of
We
us
did.
did. Yeah.
That was some of the best stuff that I've heard from Phil. Is some of the best animation for its time at that particular point in time that not Warner Bros. But Disney was putting out,
Yeah.
and it was really good.
You know, there's a lot of
Everyone
other
has
stuff
a
too.
Disney film
You know,
that they can associate
oh,
with.
Disney's super important, and Warner Brothers is important. And even though in partnership at times with Warner Brothers, there was another big name that eventually came out in animation that we all love from our childhoods. And we're talking about pre-'80s stuff basically right now, but like Hanna-Barbera.
Dominated.
You had a logo
right.
song come on the screen.
And you knew it was going down. What are some of your Hanna-Barbera favorites, John Holshoe?
Wacky Races.
Dude, straight up, me too. That's my favorite. I love Wacky Races. All the characters all together. Such a better show than any. What was it like? Huckleberry
combination
Hound.
of
They
everyone.
took everybody.
Everybody.
It evolved. I mean, a lot of the shows they made evolved doing other shows because these characters would be so popular. You'd introduce a side character like Yogi gets his own show. Huckleberry
boo-boo.
Hound got his own show. Like all these characters you get, and of course you got the staples like Scooby Doo, Jetsons, Flintstones, and then of course not only did they have their own superheroes that they made up, but they end up getting licenses, including Fantastic Four, and then they did what introduced me to Batman, Super Friends.
I want to mention real quick. I love Fantastic Four. That first Fantastic Four animated series, the Hanna-Barbera one.
Yeah.
Where Galactus was green.
Why was he green?
I don't know, but it was so cool, and it was taken from like Jack Kirby. You know, there's a lot of
It
controversy.
was like stop motion animation.
yeah, it was like
Yeah,
stop
that's what
motion.
it was.
It was from Jack
Didn't
Kirby
it have the
drawings,
mouths-
but he didn't really
the
get.
mouths in there?
Yeah, but it was so good. I love it.
Really?
And my favorite Cartoon Network memory is in the '90s when Cartoon Network showed up. They were playing all the old Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yeah, that's initially what they started out. Pretty much all they played.
It was all Hanna-Barbera.
That was
so
when-
Birdman.
That's what they had the licenses for, I guess.
That was when
Yeah,
I
Birdman.
Before Harvey
Right.
Birdman
Right.
and Space Ghost. And all
Space
that.
Ghost.
That was when I
Space Ghost.
finally got to watch that whole Fantastic Four series in its entirety. Challenge of the Super Friends with the Legion of Doom. That shit is the greatest.
It is.
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun,
Yes.
dun, dun.
And like you said, Jetsons and Flintstones. And you remember how big of a deal Jetsons meet the Flintstones was?
Yeah.
It was Stone Age meets Future Age.
Speaking of Stone Age meets Future Age, Jelani, Hanna-Barbera, what do you got to tell me?
Wow. I'm trying to remember the name of that family. That it was a family, and they had like were they the Thundars or something?
Thundar the Barbarian?
Not Thundar the Barbarian.
Herculoids?
Herculoids or
The
whatever it is.
Herculoids.
Herculoids.
There you
Yeah,
go. I could not
Herculoids.
remember
That's
the name of them.
Hanna-Barbera.
That's
Wow.
awesome. That freaking the rhino that shot stuff out of his
Yeah.
forehead. I love that thing. I love that group. I loved that was Hanna-Barbera. Like that was a staple for
You know,
everyone.
correct
love
me.
that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Thundar and the Herculoids were designed by Jack Kirby. I think
They
he had-
were.
Wow.
Yeah, he had a really
Jack
good,
Kirby had a real,
Sounds about
real
right.
good
heavy-
relationship with
yeah.
Hanna-Barbera.
He did a lot of the groundwork for Thunder the Barbarian. He did a lot of the groundwork for the Herculoids. You can see his influence if you look at the characters and the designs of the characters. You can see his influence on those characters.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's freaking amazing,
And his style is epic anyway.
and it shows throughout
You
Thunder the
see it.
Barbarian.
It
Every
does.
bit of it.
Now I feel bad because I didn't point that out.
If you look at some of his stuff and you look at Commandy, it's some of that stuff is taken from the actual panel work from Commandy and thrusted into
total
Thunder the
sense.
Barbarian.
You know, I think the cool thing about classic cartoons is you look at them and they really do reflect the culture of the time.
Yeah.
And it leads us to believe that once again, culture leads to pop culture. Pop culture tells us a lot about our culture of the moment. Well, we're about to take a break and we're about to get into the 80s. I'm so pumped to talk about the 80s, but before we do that, John, right? We got some what?
Social media.
Social media. We asked everybody what your favorite cartoons/animated series are.
Let's go.
Andy Roten said G.I. Joe or Batman the animated series. Ooh, dude, safe,
Wow.
good, safe, solid picks. Adam Landers said Rocco's Modern Life.
Rocco's Modern Life. That's Modern Life. Nickelodeon.
James McKay said basically the DC animated universe. You know,
Wow.
straight up, James, you're right. Those are some solid ass films. Tad said King of the Hill. Paul Edwards said Transformers, 1984, homie.
Oh yeah.
Our buddy Iram Ortiz said X-Men, the animated series, or Family Guy. And our buddies Kenny and Eric, Kenny Jardon and Eric Moss said Futurama. So good responses, keep them coming. And we will be right back
Boom, boom, boom.
talking about 80s
Boom,
animation.
Boom, 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 boom.
Hey guys, looking for a fresh new adventure to read? How about one starring an original hero during a time where the world itself was near the brink? Then return with us now to the thrilling days of yesteryear with The Grey Ghost, The Shadow That Walks. This new novel by author Nicholas Cara is the story of one man returning home after being injured in battle to find the injustice he had rallied against overseas now infesting the very city he loves. Join our hero, Joseph Bevan, who with the aid from his friends and the amazing powers of the mysterious Spartan cloak, rises above his injuries to stand tall as the champion of justice to the fair city of Capstone. Be thrilled at the action and suspense as our hero battles the villainous Dr. Rosen and the monstrous Mr. Vega, who along with their enigmatic benefactor seek nothing less than the complete destruction of the peaceful free world around them. Little do they know that standing in their way is Joseph Bevan, the shadow that walks, known as the Grey Ghost. This exciting adventure tale is available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com, and anywhere books are sold. Autographed copies are available in short supply at the Deep Comics and Games right here in Huntsville, Alabama. Join the Grey Ghost and his friends on Facebook at www.facebook.com/GreyGhostNovel and join us at www.nicholascara.com.
Welcome back to Pop Culture Philosophers. We're talking about animation. Let's get to animated films. We've already been talking about classic cartoons, but animated films. I'm actually going to start with, I think we'll start with Tony this time. Tony, what favorite animated films you'd like to talk about, ones that stand out in your mind?
Wizards. The heavy metal little movie that they did about the guys that were like riding around like stormtroopers that were all like in these little red like costumes. It was
What
so
year
like,
is this?
Like in the early '80s, but it's called Wizards. That stuff was good. And then there was one called Fire and Ice that they did. That was awesome.
Jelani, any animated films you'd like to mention that you enjoy?
Transformers the movie. It changed my life. Like when I saw it in the theater, and why the biggest spoiler, of course, watching Optimus Prime die.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
It's so sad, and it changed me as a kid because they're supposed to do the same thing in the G.I. Joe movie with Duke, because apparently we had to sell more toys. And that was just a different period of time, but I love Transformers the movie. That changed me as a kid. You know, it really transforms you because, like, this is honestly how I was dealt with death. You know how death is explained to you somehow as a kid? This is the first way I dealt with death. And my grandfather died before this even happened, but I did not accept it until I saw this movie. And it shows you how someone you love dies on you, and it's a different generation, but it's still like Optimus Prime was. We'll talk about that later, but
Do not grieve, for I shall become one
It
with the
hurt.
Matrix.
It hurt.
That was some cool shit.
Oh my god.
Robbie, animated films you'd like to talk about? Any favorites?
My all-time favorite animated film is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Awesome
Straight up.
film.
You know, straight up. And I think there's a lot of good Disney stuff out there. I'm not gonna try to hold back.
Oh,
I
boy.
already mentioned Robin Hood, but I want to throw out. Jelani mentioned this: The Lion King.
Ta-da.
I'm gonna bring up. You were bringing up Disney, but the other powerhouse when it comes to animated films, Don Bluth. I was gonna say Don Bluth. I do enjoy the Disney films. I did enjoy, like you said, like I mentioned Rescuers earlier. I do like Lion King, Aladdin. Disney had a lot of great films, but for me, my favorites are always the Don Bluth films.
Let's talk about 80s animation, 80s cartoons, right? You already mentioned Transformers, the movie. In the 80s, they were trying to do cartoons to sell toys and doing toys to sell cartoons.
It was
It was
great.
it was
beautiful
great.
time.
It was great for us because
Who cares?
who cares how old we are?
Yeah.
That was
Buy me
our
toys.
childhood.
That was some
Toys.
good stuff.
Man.
Awesome stuff.
We
Some
all
mommy
grew up.
toys.
We all grew up in the 80s, and we loved that shit. So, Jelani, talk to me real quick about your favorite 80s cartoons and toys.
My favorite 80s cartoons and toys
It,
in general.
it better be Transformers.
No shit, it's Transformers. It's all Transformers. I could not wait to get my first Optimus Prime. I mean, you change a truck into a guy with a gun. Yeah, let's do that. Let's
And
do it a whole
you
bunch
act
of
out
times.
the episode that you just got done
yeah.
watching.
Transformers, some really good stuff.
It was awesome. It was a great time.
Tony,
Everything was happening.
He's
you're the
Megatron,
80s cartoon and toys expert. Please tell me a little bit about your favorites and the era itself.
Jason the Wheeled Warriors
Yeah, I
was a
agree.
cartoon about a boy trying to find his father with the mighty root and these evil plants from this planet that would turn into like machines led by Saw Boss. And the Wheel Warriors would roll into battle. Lightning strikes. That shit was awesome. There was another one. They had a comic book to support this one. The Star Wars. These robots that you had that were wind-ups.
Wind up, yes.
And they would have like little like saw blades in their chest
guy.
or machine guns in their chest. They had some kind of theme. Like the good guys were all blue and white.
Mm-hmm.
And the bad guys were like black, purple, and gold. And then they had like all these different features. Like you have cannons in one of them's chest. Another one would have like a huge drill in his chest. And their heads would open up. And they had like silver figures that you could put in. And they drove them.
That's so
And it
cool.
was like an alien race fighting a human race in outer space with these giant mechs. The Star Wars was awesome
Yeah.
too. But you can't sleep on it.
From days of long ago, from uncharted regions of the universe, there comes a legend. The legend of Voltron, defender of the universe. Loved by good, feared by evil.
Holshoe. 80s. What do you got for me? Toys, cartoons, the interconnection, whatever you want to talk about.
There's a bunch I enjoyed. Like we talked Silverhawks already. We talked Transformers, Thundercats. But my two favorites were probably Mask, because of cool ass vehicles, and I was gonna say, and He-Man. He-Man was probably my favorite.
Ooh, He-Man, yeah. Someone had to say He-Man.
So you had Skeletor, and you had the awesome tigers they could ride on, and the birds, and all the bee was a
Buzz off.
Yeah.
And then what? Many Faces.
Yeah,
and then
Stinkor.
Yeah, there were so many awesome
Men.
characters.
The Snake Men were some of my favorites.
And Snake
King
Mountain.
Hiss.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Hordak.
But no one can remember a storyline from that. Can someone remember?
Because it's
a
actually a
storyline?
terrible cartoon.
Yeah,
I'm
is.
sorry.
It really
Yeah.
is.
I'm fond of that
And
cartoon.
We're talking about how we love these, but the toys were so much better than the cartoon they were trying to
Oh
sell.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The comic books were too, because
Yeah.
each one of those figures had a little
It's
mini
just
comic
a
in
mini
it.
comic in it.
It was awesome.
a lot of the stuff in the 80s, they were taking advantage of the audience. They weren't giving
Yeah.
you anything of substance.
It's all merchandising.
They were
Yeah.
just merchandising.
But it
and that's
worked.
fine. But that's a post Star Wars pop culture.
Yes, it was. It was
John.
one of the first ones.
Some of my favorite stuff from the 80s. You mentioned real briefly. Silverhawks, wings of silver, nerves of steel. Silverhawks.
Awesome.
Centurions.
Man Extreme. Man and Machine.
A badass toy line.
Yes, it was.
And a
So
badass
beautiful.
cartoon. Bionic 6.
Bionic 6. Ooh, ooh.
Can we not
We
forget
are
about
family.
Yeah.
Can we not forget about Ghostbusters real quick?
Oh
though?
yeah. So we were talking how we grew up in the 80s with those cartoons,
Yep.
and something acceptable in Japan, but more recently acceptable in the U.S. Cartoons or animated films or shows geared towards adults.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Comedies. I think The Simpsons were the more acceptable ones, and that was probably paved the way as far as the
Well, I
prime
think
time.
what paved the way for Simpsons was that it was actually, even though it was for adults, it was all ages.
Yeah, it was all ages.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that paved the way for, I think, Family Guy
yeah.
and shows
Which
of that
I
nature.
think Family Guy is more 13 and up. But I think a 5-year-old could watch Simpsons.
Is there any particular shows, Jelani, you want to talk about that are adult theme oriented?
More,
Maybe not like pornographic, but I mean, obviously the humor,
Yeah,
or
'cause
maybe
hentai,
it's
yeah, I
maybe it's dramatic.
The
so the
theme,
kids,
the
Yeah.
more mature themes.
Okay, well, as a show, like an adult themed show for me, it was a Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
The
love
anime Cowboy
The
Bebop.
the anime Cowboy Bebop. I have a lot of love for it because the music went with the show the episode was supposed to go with.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You know,
Phenomenal music.
It's gorgeous. It's jazz. It's music. It's the love of music, and it's how animation and music can work together in a good mix for me, and I love it.
Tony, do you still watch modern animation or stuff
Yes.
geared towards adults? Is there a particular show that you're fond of, or a show you want to talk about?
Right now, it's not geared for adults, but you know, Randall Cunningham, Ninth Grade Ninja, comes on Disney XD. It's done by the same people that did Invader Zim.
Okay.
So if you're
Okay.
familiar with Invader Zim,
That's
this
cool.
is like the offshoot of it. And it's about Randall Cunningham who comes across this Ninja Nomicon. It's a book that supposedly is to help you become a ninja. And he's also harnessed this suit that allows him to fight like uber crazy bad guys. And it's like off the chain.
What a coincidence that he found that book and got that suit.
Yeah.
Robbie, is there a particular modern what you still watch new animation, right? New animated film shows.
Well, but you were talking about adult themes.
I was thinking geared towards adults or maybe.
Unfortunately, both of mine that I want to mention are from the 90s.
Oh, okay.
But I really like Evangelion.
Oh my goodness.
And my number one, though, is seriously Akira. Like, I really...
Kaneda.
I don't think you can go against that
That
one.
is gorgeous.
And
I thought we were talking about shows.
Yeah, but...
Yeah.
Maybe,
movies.
yeah, maybe, but I just
Really?
I didn't want to mention this on movies
Akira.
because I just thought
Yeah,
that
that's some good shit.
It's awesome.
It's adult themed, and I think it's
It
one of the best
is.
adult themed animations ever.
It is.
I would say, obviously, we talked about Family Guy a little bit. Big fan of Seth MacFarlane. So I like American Dad. I thought short-lived and had good parts. Maybe not the greatest show. I did enjoy the Cleveland show when it was on. It had a short run. American Dad is hilarious.
It is.
But my favorite probably of the geared towards adults, but animated here in the States, Matt Thompson and Adam Reed, they used to do a show called... they redid C-Lab and called it it was C-Lab 2021, where they recycled this show, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
On Adult Swim.
Was.
They went on to do Frisky Dango. Thank you. So they went on to do Frisky Dango. And after that, this Exicles was a spinoff. They ended up leaving. They had some falling out, I guess, with Adult Swim. And they ended up starting another show called Archer. And Archer is hilarious. It's,
it was.
It's just phenomenal. So
It's still
I think
going on.
they're a great team.
Yeah.
I like that they continue and they keep that humor style. So give Archer a chance. And if you haven't seen Archer or you do like Archer, go back and check out Frisky Dango and all those other shows. Let's go jump back to the social media. I think, Robbie, we had some more answers when we were asking about favorite animation.
Oh, of course, we had some more answers. We asked everybody on the social media what your favorite animated series were. Chris Brockman said Transformers.
More
Ooh, that's
than meets
nice.
the eye.
David Bass said Venture Brothers, Rick and Morty, and BoJack Horseman. Bo Wolf said Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, the old Dungeons
forgot
and
about
Dragons.
that.
classic.
Yeah.
Barbarian?
Richard
Magician?
Werder.
Thief?
Ooh, whoa.
Cavalier?
Richard Werder said Samurai Jack. James Donahoe said Samurai Jack and Young Justice and The Simpsons.
Wow.
Clay Williams said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Travis Whitworth said Clone Wars. And Chris Harris, good buddy of mine, says Robotech, Ronin Warriors.
Yeah, the Space Knights.
Keep checking in on Facebook and our social medias. Twitter. We're on Twitter now at The PCP Show.
Coming up, we're going to be doing the top 5, maybe talking a little about Nickelodeon. We'll be right back.
Until all are one.
Meet Albrecht Drew. He punches ghosts. Often. Right in their goddamn ghost faces. Al's aimless life of getting drunk, starting fights in bars, and living in a shithole apartment goes straight to hell one night. He loses his woman, a hobo steals his last paycheck, and a demonic dwarf Voltron tries to eat him. But when Al punches the unliving crap out of a ghost of a 1970s pimp, things might just start looking up. Paul D. Miller's latest novel, Albrecht Drew, Ghost Puncher, Part 1, OGP, is now available in trade paperback and for digital download at Amazon.com. Albrecht Drew, Ghost Puncher by Paul D. Miller. Check it out. Hey everybody, welcome back to Pop Culture Philosophers. You know, we've been talking about animation this entire time. Talked about a lot about classic animation, you know, and the stuff in the 80s that we loved, and the stuff before the 80s that we loved. So let's talk a little bit about what we like to call here the Nickelodeon era. So in the 90s, you had the rise of Nickelodeon, you had the rise of Fox Kids, okay? A lot of very important shows come from this era. Tony, tell me a little bit about this era in general and your favorite shows.
Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree.
That was really good.
Yeah. Tim Curry is Captain Hook. Yeah.
Smee. Yeah,
That was
Fox's
awesome.
Peter Pan and the Pirates was really good.
All right.
There was a French animated series that came on Saturday mornings. Fox did. It was called Cyber 6, where the lady infiltrated the area, disguised as a man by day, and work on the police force, and at night she would go out and fight crime as a female vigilante. That was really good.
Jelani, what can you tell me?
About 90s?
Yeah,
about
90s animation.
90s animation.
What's your favorite, and why does it separate itself from other eras?
Dexter's Lab is one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
From the
Cartoon
90s.
Network, a big deal in the 90s with their original programming.
They had original programming.
It was awesome.
I mean, it was Tartakovsky. It was this kid, and he was a genius, and his parents never had an idea that he had made his own laboratory that's under their house. And there's a Dee Dee sister, and she's just this cheerleader, happy girl. She's always ruining his things. And I loved that show. And it was the 90s. And I really enjoyed that really a lot. That was one of my favorite shows.
My favorite animated series in the 90s, all Fox. X-Men, the animated series, and The Tick.
The Tick's good.
Absolutely love those series. John, what do you think?
I'd probably say Tailspin and DuckTales. Maybe I'd say Darkwing and Tailspin are probably my favorite. Not counting comic book related shows, because obviously I was an X-Men fan. The Spider-Man show eventually. But the Fox, it was different with Fox because Fox did those cartoons when you got home from school.
Yeah.
So Nickelodeon had some stuff on here and there. They had some live action stuff. They had a mix of stuff and some reruns. Versus Fox, I mean, they were the ones that like, okay, forget
These
this
kids are
Saturday
gonna be
morning
cool.
shit.
We're gonna watch these shows.
Let's, as soon as school gets out, let's be that TV spot for them. And you're right, Fox dominated for a while there. I think Robbie has one more shout out. Some of the social media. We asked him again what your favorite animation is.
You know how it is. Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook. Be sure to like us, and you can, get involved. Our buddy Thaddeus House Tony said Rugrats. That's a good one. Bobby Hessler said Flapjack.
Oh yeah, we had to look that up.
We had to look that one up.
Flapjack.
Yeah, Jennifer Francis said Fraggle Rock. Okay, we gave you the shout out, Jen, but that don't fucking count. Okay?
Yeah, that's not cartoon.
That's puppets. That's
No,
puppets.
man.
Drew, our good buddy Drew, you know Drew.
Yeah.
Drew had to be elongated. He said Batman, the animated series, Rick and Morty, Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Outlaw Star was good.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
That was the retelling of the original.
Aaron Sills, good friend of mine, because of this answer, says Batman, the animated series, and Tiny Toons. Brett the Murph
Murph.
says Spidey, the 90s series. Oh,
Yes.
Yes, good.
Spider-Man.
Our buddy Justin Goldsmith says Archer and Rick and Morty. Brian Price says, what was that? Futurama. F is for fantasy?
F is for family. It's
Oh,
on
F is for
Netflix.
Good.
family.
A
Yeah.
Netflix show.
Once again,
Misread my own writing there. But the best answer we had all night, Michael Finley, Gargoyles. That's a great show. I'm just going to say that.
And that was Disney as well, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
it
it
on
was,
Fox?
yeah.
Disney on
Fox
Fox?
and
Yeah,
Disney.
Fox and
And I just want to say real quick, Disney and Warner Brothers dominate animation. And why did Fox get involved? Because of Disney and Warner Brothers, dude. Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, DuckTales, Tailspin,
Freakazoid.
Rescue Rangers, Freakazoid, all that good stuff.
So we're talking about our different favorite shows, movies, etc. I want to know what your actual top 5. If you can narrow down a top 5.
The
Jelani.
top 5.
Jelani, what would be your top 5?
My top 5
In descending order, your top 5 favorite animated
All right.
shows.
Descending works for me. The number 5 is Transformers. Transformers is awesome. It is it's cars that turn into guys shooting each other for
And you love guys and cars.
Guiding guys and cars. It works out. I mean, I love it. It's a brilliant show. It works out, and I love Transformers. That's 5.
I think everybody loves Transformers. Great show.
4 is an anime. It's an anime kind of a mini series, but it's pretty decent. It's Samurai 7. Samurai 7 is brilliant. It is a remake of what is that gentleman's name?
Samurai.
No, it's
By
the Seven
Kurosawa.
Samurai. Kurosawa.
Yeah.
There we
Akira
go.
Kurosawa, yeah.
Yeah, it's. Thank you, Robbie. That was good. But,
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, well done, sir. Thank you for philosophizing. But I love Seven Samurai as the film. But then for them to make an anime of it in a futuristic version.
And a
it
well
tells
done
an
anime.
Excellent,
Yeah.
well done anime. And it tells the story brilliantly. And I love that. That's my top 4. Number 3. I'm getting there. 3 is, of course, Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop is my... I love the music.
Yeah.
I love the feeling of it. It's bounty hunters, and they're in the space. They're just like space cowboys. And they're trying to do their best. And they're always hungry. They're always poor. and the first thing they ever did was get this dog.
That's typical in Japanese animation.
It is. Number 2. My number 2, I did omit something for this number 2. My number 2 favorite anime series of all time is Batman.
Batman.
The animated series from the
The
90s.
animated series. Now, I was talking about before how much I love that series, and I love how everything works with it. I got off school, I saw that thing. I watched it every day. It gives story. It gives base to Batman. It's the best Batman storytelling ever. So I enjoy it. All right. My number 1. And it took me a while because after the break, I had to think about it. But this is my favorite all-time animated series of all time. Period. Rick and Morty.
A fairly new show, only 1 season. It's your favorite
Rick
of
and
all
Morty.
time.
Rick and Morty. Do you know why Rick and Morty? I'll tell you why Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty, because first of all, it is kind of the Back to the Future. It's Doc and Marty.
Yeah.
Number 1, because it's dark. They throw away their episodes. These guys work on time. I love Rick and Morty. I can't explain that show to you other than for you to watch it.
It's hilarious. There's some heart-wrenching moments,
it
but it's
hurts.
hilarious.
It's dark
I
and it's
love that
really
show.
smart.
I'll give you
They
that one.
really at least try to play to my intelligence. And it's an adult show, and I love it.
Robbie, you got a top 5
I
favorite
do.
animated shows for us?
Yes, of course I do. Of course I do. The infamous top 5.
Top 5.
Honorable mention.
He's got honorable mention.
Always. Clone Wars.
It's all right.
Yeah, I'm going to give an honorable
Are you
mention
talking
to
about?
Clone Wars.
Are you talking about the CG?
The
or are you talking
CG
about
one.
The
The
I'm
CG
talking
one
about the
in
shorts.
particular.
I like the
Both of them are good. But whatever. Number 5, regular show. That show cracks me the fuck up.
Yeah.
Ham boning. Like that show
Boning.
cracks me up, dude. I can't. I don't care. I just can't say anything else.
You guys are abusing the
I've never
salad.
laughed more than during that show. Number 4, X-Men, the animated series from the
90s. Phenomenal.
Yeah, it, like that show incorporated. That show incorporated the subplots of comic books.
And it felt like it was so close to the
did.
comic art
It
style.
worked out.
X-Men kind of like brought in that whole soap opera aspect that was prevalent
Gene.
Oh, yeah.
in 90s comic books, right? It felt
Gene.
like a 90s X-Men comic book, and it was really, really, really cool. Number 3, I had to think about this. Number 3, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Oh my
Really?
god.
Hilarious.
I love that show. Just like a regular show cracks me out, so does Aqua Teen. Nothing makes me laugh more than
Aqua Teen?
Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Straight up.
I'll give you that. There's some. See,
That's
I
a
try to watch
failure
it now,
somehow.
and I can't stand to watch.
No, it's,
I don't
it's
enjoy it as much as
terrible.
I used to.
I'm
I used
sorry,
to watch
it's
the
great.
shit out of
Really?
it, and it was hilarious.
Number 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I can't tell you how much I loved that cartoon when I was a kid. It meant so
That's
much to
true.
me, you know? And the toys. The toys were supremely
Toys were
badass. They
Yeah.
were fantastic. I absolutely loved them. And like straight up, the Ninja Turtles kind of represent a lot about humanity, about us personally. Raphael, Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, they teach us a lot about the different aspects of ourselves. But aside from that, I just love that show, man. I loved it when I was a kid. I still love it today. I still watch it. I own them on DVD, and I watch them. Number 1, though, Batman, the animated series. I don't think there's a better interpretation of Batman. Period,
ever.
than
Batman,
the
the
animated series.
series.
Bruce Timm, Alan Burnett,
It's
Paul
beautiful.
Dini. They created a
I agree.
masterpiece. It's better than any comic book
awesome.
of Batman. It's the perfect mythology of Batman. It encapsulates and incorporates everything that
It's
is
beautiful.
involved of Batman. It's like perfect. And aside from the Max Fleischer Superman series from the 40s or whatever,
Yeah.
It's the 30s.
that the
yeah.
Batman like animated series is based
Yeah.
on. Like it has a major influence on, right? Dude, it's just so brilliant. It's beautiful, and it speaks a lot.
The
to
music.
us. Oh yeah.
Can I get your top 5, Tony? Your top 5 favorite animated shows, starting with number 5.
Transformers. Transformers is rock hard, solid. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And then after that, you had G.I. Joe, which is number 4 on my list. G.I. Joe gave you everything. It was the first cartoon that was diverse.
Yeah.
There was somebody
That's
for
true.
everybody,
For everybody.
in that cartoon.
Because America.
I mean,
You're right.
every race, creed, denomination you can think of was in that series. It's pivotal. Number 3, Ninja Scroll.
Yes.
The series or
Wait,
the
the
film
series
or
or the
both?
film?
The movie.
Yes.
Okay.
If you've never seen the movie, I'm telling you,
It's on my list.
Jubei Kibagabi versus the 8 Devils of
Oh
Komodo.
my God. Brilliant. I agree.
The 8 Devils don't know what's coming. That shit's good. Number 2,
This guy.
I'm gonna have to say Batman the Animated Series. It was on the edge. It was gritty. It was the one thing on Sundays that would get you together,
expect it
other
for?
than church. It was the one thing on Sundays that the whole family got together and watched on Fox. That was like the thing, and then they shifted it and moved it to like a weekly thing, but it held Sunday forever.
Yeah.
Number 1, Battle of the Planets. It was
Wow.
a Japanese anime, and
Wow.
it dealt with everything.
I agree. That's awesome.
It dealt with death at a young age. You had 5 orphan people that were trained to fight aliens from outer space. It
This
was
guy.
originally 6.
Wow.
But one member sacrificed
like it.
himself to save the rest of the other 5. They beat this kid to a pulp, and he wouldn't rat out any one of them. And then when the rest of them showed up to pick him up, he was gone. He was dead. And the second in command, tuck lead of the ship of the Fiery Phoenix, and you had just 5 different entities that were wanting all the same goal, but they had different agendas of trying to do it. And you had the
Battle
hothead
of
that
the
was
Planets,
Jason
though.
that wanted to shoot first and ask questions later. And then you had Mark that had to look at it from every angle without approaching it with violence, but at the same time get the message across. And it also dealt with all these multicultures,
He's
dealing
right.
with the fact of aliens were invading the planet, and it was everything being pulled together. And it was the first animated, syndicated cartoon that dealt with transgenders.
That's true.
So I'm going to run down my top 5 quickly here. I'm going to go number 5 was a show that I love, is hilarious, and to this day I think is the funniest animated show in the history of animation, but it was short-lived. So that's why it's on my top 5, because I think they could have done so much more. Clerks, the animated show.
Yes,
Clerks.
it was.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith's Clerks, hilarious.
awesome. That'd be my top
Hilarious.
10.
If you haven't seen Clerks, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you could probably watch online, but there is a DVD box set.
What did it air on, though? Was it MTV?
ABC.
It was ABC, and then then Eisner at the time with Disney. I think he wanted it because he didn't want somebody else to have it, and then they aired it in a weird fashion. Episode 2 was out of order. It didn't have good ratings, and unfortunately, it didn't work out.
terrible.
Yeah. Kevin
Okay.
Smith has a few things to say about that, but I really enjoyed the show. And again, you get the box set, or even the set. It's only 6 episodes on the cheap. Definitely worth picking up and checking out, especially if you're a Kevin Smith fan. It's his humor style, but it is hilarious. So my number 4 is going to be Super Friends, which is the show that introduced me to Batman and Superman and Aquaman and Robin, everybody. So that was my first. Before I even read a comic, I saw this and it had a big impact on me.
Right.
Love that show. And I used to watch reruns, of course, when they reran it. My number 3 is going to be Family Guy. Big Seth MacFarlane fan. I think Family Guy is hilarious. Sometimes it can be a little offensive. I think he tries to offend everybody, and sometimes his jokes run a little long, but I think that's what he thinks is funny. He's got a weird fucking sense of humor. But I like Seth MacFarlane a lot, and I love him, Family Guy. And again, my old roommate got me into Family Guy because I couldn't really initially get into it, especially the animation at first.
They canceled it twice. So.
Yeah, and he kept pushing on me, and finally I caved in and watched it. I'm like, this shit is hilarious. My number 2 is going to be probably most of your guys' number 1, or at least in your top 5. Batman animated series.
Yes.
Which is it is phenomenal.
It is great.
The music,
it's all of ours.
the writing.
Yeah.
Great show. They did such a phenomenal job with that.
It's over, Joker.
My number one is a British cartoon that I think you're all familiar with, but you maybe not all love, and I love it. Absolutely love this show, and it's Danger Mouse.
Danger
Yes.
Mouse.
Danger Mouse. He had Danger Mouse, his sidekick,
And
Penfold, the
Penfold.
hamster,
Yeah.
and had the flying car, and I just loved the style. I loved it as a kid, but as I got older, I enjoy it more because of that British humor. It's definitely a Monty Python-ish humor, and a lot of stuff that just flew over my head as a child when I rewatch it. Love Danger Mouse. That's my favorite.
And that was
Danger
done by
Mouse.
Filmation too, wasn't
It
it?
was Filmation.
Yeah.
It was a British what?
It's the ace.
It was put over here by
fantastic.
Filmation.
Oh, over here. Oh,
Whenever
stateside.
there's danger, he'll be there.
So
He's
love.
the ace.
Love Danger Mouse. That's my number one. And let's
Danger
go on
Mouse.
to
It was and Banana Man. I like Banana Man.
I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Right, John?
thank you.
Thank you, Jelani.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome, Robbie.
Next time on Pop Culture Philosophers.
Timothy Dalton. Oh wait, no.
Oh,
He
no,
won't be
no,
there.
no. We're going to have Mike and James with us. 90s comic book movies. Holy shit. We're doing a
There was
whole
a lot of
podcast on 90s comic book movies.
There's enough. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Oh my goodness. Oh my damn. Oh my goodness. They going ham.
Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you to the listeners for listening in. As always, check us out on www.popculturesphilosopher. Wait, what are we called? Popculturephilosophers.com. And then we're on the YouTubes and the Twitter and the Facebooks and the MySpace. We're not on MySpace, but nobody's on MySpace anymore.
We are on Instagram, though.
Yeah, we're on everything that matters.
Instagram.
Find us, like us, share us. And we didn't have a giveaway this week, but next episode we will be having another giveaway. And we're always having giveaways, so check out the Facebooks.
Subscribe.
Like and share, subscribe.
Please.
Win some swag. Have some fun. Thank you. That's it. I'm out of here.
Subscribe.
Listen to Optimus Prime and subscribe.
Again, I say subscribe.